let's just, well, let's see. Let's just deal with the rabbit in the room. It is Easter. Whatever language you want to say it in, you'll probably hear it from me again next Sunday because it's Orthodox Easter. So, Christos Anesti for next week. We'll have Greek food. So, let's deal with this, okay? Do we hide the bunny in the closet? No. Let's deal with it. Because the facts are the facts, okay? And even though we are spiritualists, obviously we're probably some of the most enlightened, open-minded individuals in the universe, okay? So we can do a commercial just like John Morgan and say, you know, largest injury law firm in the universe. Well, we're, like I said, probably some of the most open-minded, welcoming, educationally, constantly developing people in the universe. And that's a fact. That's great. So, even though I know I was going to wear my Easter bonnet today, but I couldn't pull it off, you know, because it's yellow, and it really didn't match what I had planned to wear because, you know, I wanted to be wearing red for, you know, the old Catholicism thing of, you know, he is risen, and everybody puts their red and purple on and rejoices, and so the yellow bonnet wasn't going to do it for me. So let's deal with this Happy Easter, this bunny, what it symbolizes. And I know it's very commercialized, not to us, of course. Although I have to tell you, someone in my neighborhood for the past 2 weeks has had their whole front yard decorated, you know, with the plastic eggs and the trees, and there was this big inflatable bunny sitting on a bench in front of the house for the past 2 weeks, and everyone drove by and said, oh, look at that, so cute, look at that. Well, I drove by the bunny this morning, and someone had viciously attacked him. Who knows what's in people's minds, but it was obviously a statement, because that bunny has been out in the weather for the past 2 weeks and remained safely on his perch, and no one molested him or bothered him in any way. But sure enough, this morning, it looked like a crime scene, I have to tell you. So that's very sad, you know, because obviously someone felt personally that they wanted to attack this representative of this wonderful holiday. Who knows what their reasoning was, but just another example of people not being open-minded and respecting other people's beliefs and ideals. So that was very sad, I thought, you know, to see that. But back to what I was saying, as far as celebrating this, I think we, of all people, you know, putting some of the Christian beliefs to the side for a minute, obviously embrace, and in some of our songs we sing, you know, there is light beyond the tomb, beyond death, and this is perfect confirmation of what we talk about every Sunday. So I don't quite understand why spiritualism doesn't embrace the concept of Easter a little more. I mean, you don't have to, you know, do the Stations of the Cross and all the other kind of things, you know, that are associated with, you know, the journey to the cross. But we can always embrace the belief that obviously this is confirmation of life after death, which brings me to, you know, in a little story I have this week. I know most of you know, my Miss Gatto was in the ICU last weekend. unfortunately, the doctor advised me, of course, that it was probably best to let her proceed on with her journey. And I know a lot of you are animal lovers, whatever type of animal you have, whether it be pot-bellied pig to guinea pig or parakeet, cats, dogs, etc., and have treated them as members of your family, as most of us do. So unfortunately, I and Alana had to be there. I thought was best, for Miss Gatto to journey on. So I'd say probably, I knew, of course, that it was coming. So I asked Spirit, I said, please, someone, and I meant like my family, loved ones, etc., in the world of spirit, where we know animals do have souls and move on and have a life as well. I asked them, I said, please, someone come for my Moscato. I don't want to leave her and just let her go over alone without someone's comfort and arms, to hold her. So my daughter, who, made her transition 2 years ago, she came to me and she said, I'll be there. And I just kind of looked at her like, I don't know if I can trust you, because, she wasn't the most reliable, dependable person around. But she said, no, I promise I'll be there. She said, will she even come to me? She says, because she never really liked me, And I said, well, we'll have a conversation, because I was obviously going to be, with Miss Gatto. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if any of you have experienced perhaps friends or relatives, family in ICU setting, and they are sometimes unconscious, and the doctors or whoever say, well, you can say things, you can talk to them, we don't know if they hear you. Well, we as spiritualists know they're like right on the fence, they hear you. They hear you. They know you're there, and they do hear you. So by all means, speak your feelings. But I also have experienced when people are in that stage, and they're kind of going back and forth, they're here with us, but then they're already being embraced by the loved ones in the world of spirit. So they're kind of on the fence. They haven't physically left the body yet. So I'd say probably the last day or so, I kept getting glimpses of my cat in the house already. And I was like, I look up and she'd be there, and I'd see her around the corner there, or she'd be laying in the carpet in my room. I said, okay, she's already, in that stage, that transitional stage. So we did spend time with her, and when we got to the vet for the, final moments or whatever, I looked up and I saw my daughter. She was standing on the other side of the room, and she said, I'm here. I told you I'd be here. I'm here. So I said, okay, thank you. And the vets, they're always so, wonderful at that time with you. And, they had her all cradled in towels and, the whole thing. And I looked up, and my daughter had a towel too. Like, she was like, okay, I'm ready. So that was really nice to know that, yeah, somebody was there waiting for her, and she wasn't going to be experiencing the unknown on her own, so to speak. So when the doctor administered the medications and everything, we, of course, were patting her and talking to her, and you could hear this little purr. She was still there. And when, she actually, I guess he was, doing the final one, whatever, and I looked up, and I saw my daughter had her already, and boom, she was gone, just like that. Just not a word, just gone. And so the doctor took out his stethoscope, and he's like, she's gone. And I said, yeah, I know, I saw her leave. And he just kind of like, really crazy, whatever. And I just said, thank you, like, yeah, I know she's gone, I saw her leave. So, I'm going to tell you, anyone that's experienced this loss, that is probably one of the most comforting things, because you're already grieving the loss of this little energy in your home, this loved one, this family member. I'd had that cat 6 years from the shelter, from the sheriff's shelter in Brevard County. And she turned out to be such a blessing, to my granddaughter, Alana. That was kind of like her emotional, support animal, especially when her mother passed a couple years ago. So we all know that these little energies, they go on, because obviously, they are matter, and we know scientifically, we can't destroy that, no matter how much people try, or the world, they do go on. So I think it was, it was a couple days later. I was sitting having coffee, and I, felt energies like very close by. And, I do this a lot, and I know, my husband really probably thinks I'm kind of certifiable sometimes. And I just said, who's got my cat? I said, which one of you has my cat? And I wanted an answer. I was like serious, like, which one of you has my cat? And all of a sudden, I saw one of my brothers that's in spirit. He was standing there because he was a cat lover. And he's like, I wanted her, I have her, and boom, he was gone, just like that, in and out. So just enough, to let you know, hey, we got this. It's all under control. But at the same time, it is loss. It is loss, and you do have to deal with it. You can't totally sweep it under the rug. You do have to process it and deal with it. So we do. But at the same time, I was doing a meditation that same day, and Spirit stepped in like very strongly with me, and the first words they said was, there is no death. Like, you people have it all wrong. Like, there is no death. It's a matter of just shifting spaces. You're still the same person that you were yesterday. That doesn't change. I mean, maybe in time it will change, and that's usually for the better, because hopefully, it's a learning process even there on the other side, that you're going to grow and develop. And, we've got a little edge here, because, this is what we've chosen to study and to believe these years of our lives. So I accepted that. I acknowledge that. I understand that. I've been believing that for years. There is no death. So they wanted me to know, like, hey, and that's what he said, this spirit, he says, we're all here. Like, we still live, we still talk and laugh and tell stories and, have friends and other ventures, that we might want to try at this stage in our life. So, that can be comforting. And when we have a symbol like this with not so much the Easter bunny, because that's, all the commercialism of it, and it's for the kids, and the egg hunts, and the chocolate bunnies, and the whole bit, although I know a lot of adults that have eaten a lot of chocolate bunnies this week, and I'm not going to point fingers at them or mention names. My husband, he's a chocoholic, so he can't walk out of the kitchen or dining area without some little souvenir in his hand that he takes and swallows while he thinks I'm not seeing, but that's okay. But there is light from the tomb. I mean, how much more, you know, do we need to see to know that the stone was open and the physical body was gone? And then to be seen days later by many, which he was. We celebrate Jesus Christ as he beat it, you know. He proved to us that there is life after death. So I kind of, you know, besides being Catholic for 50 years, I have a special place in my heart, you know, for the Holy Family. They can be lessons for all of us to take on and appreciate that, yes, he did lead this life as a prophet, as a medium, a healer. He traveled all over, had quite the reputation. So sometimes I kind of wonder why spiritualism, why the, you know, religious organization, even our parent organization, why they don't kind of, you know, take that and run with it a little more. Because, wow, what an example, huh? To live your life in peace and love and in service to others. All the things that they're preaching to us and telling us, you know, this is the way it should be. This is what Spirit says, in service to others. Do unto others. Well, gee, you know, where did that come about from? I wonder. All the healings and the miracles and the life he led, and yet we choose to not acknowledge that because it doesn't quite fit into our block, our checklist. So nothing against NSAC, obviously, because that's why we're here. This is an NSAC church, but at the same time, the people that are here, we walk the walk of spiritualism. We don't just talk about it. The people that you see here most Sundays, we are living the spiritualist life. And that's what we've been taught. But at the same time, we're open-minded enough to embrace another aspect of life after life and proof of the continuity of life. And that was obviously a prime example. So yes, we do celebrate today, as many throughout the world do, and will next weekend as well. We do celebrate the rebirth, you know, he rose from the dead, supposedly, you know, just like he had Lazarus rise up and live on. These are classic examples of what we teach, that, you know, like Spirit told me, there is no death. There really is no death. It's just a change, you know, and we all go through changes throughout our lives, many changes, as your lifestyle changes, your job, your marital status, you know, your parental status, etc. Life is change. And so we embrace it and we go with it and we learn to live a new life, as we all have after these losses. So, you know, back to what I was saying about my cat. I had the cat for 6 years. I had no intention of getting another cat ever, you know, when I had her. Because let me tell you, she was like, Julie knows, I mean, she was not a friendly cat, okay? And I really cringed at the thought of bringing another cat into the house because she was so territorial and kind of mean, you know? And I said, oh, if I'm afraid to bring a cat in. So for some reason, you know, I don't question any of this, I just go with it. Before Christmas, Alana said, oh, I want another cat. And I said, yeah, sure you do. I said, but you don't even take care of this one, so how am I going to bring in another one? And that's more work for me. Oh, no, you know, they always tell you that. Oh, I'll help, I'll do this, I'll do that. I said, in 6 years, I think you've changed her litter once, maybe. You know, fed her, you walk right by her and she's meowing at her bowl, but you have your earbuds in so you don't hear that, you know. But I'm just saying, you know, that's a teenager. That's another sermon, another Sunday. But I went and I did get a cat from a rescue, because that's pretty much the only place I'm going to get him from. Even if there's money involved, I don't have a problem with that, because you're rescuing. You are saving a life. So I got a beautiful little male cat, and, you know, had the expense of his neutering and his shots and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and brought him into my home. Well, you know, as usual, Spirit was pretty much, you know, setting this all up and preparing us for the loss of Miss Gatto, because, you know, he brings us much laughter, much joy as he races through the house. His feet move so fast. And he goes up and down the stairs. All you hear is up and down the stairs. And he's a lot of fun, you know, and he does. He lightens the load. He makes the loss more bearable. So now Spirit has already told me, well, he's 6 months old and he's going to live a long time. Do you want him to be alone? I'm like, no. Well, I heard him in December, and that's why he's here. So, yeah, so I'm back with the rescue people. But, hey, it's a worthy cause, and they are a good rescue. They're called A Better Life, and I think they're based in Sanford or Maitland, but very good organization. And I called them yesterday and, you know, told them, well, we lost our Miss Gatto, and I call him Little Man. We have Little Man, and I don't want Little Man to be alone the rest of his life, you know. So they said, well, we currently have 25 kittens nursing right now. So they said within the next 2 or 3 weeks they'll be ready. So she says, you know, you'll have your pick of those. And I said, thank you. So it gives you a little time, even mentally, emotionally, to process this. Like, okay, I am taking on this responsibility once more to have a pet. But hey, it's continuity of life, because I know that Miss Gatto is not dead. I've seen her a couple times already. I know she's not dead. So it's a blessing, and just like Jesus Christ rising from the tomb and out and about in the public, showing them his wounds on his physical body, like, look, I survived this, and here I am still. I'm speaking to you. I'm talking to you. Just like us, you know, we experience this, and people, I know they think we're like, I don't want to say the word, but bat something crazy, you know, because they think, oh my God. But I have another little aside that proves this, okay? I have, you know, sisters-in-laws and all that kind of stuff. Everybody else does. Well, I have a sister-in-law in Dallas, you know, who I don't really know that well, because they live in Dallas, and, you know, I don't talk to her or anything, you know, because we're all very busy, obviously. Well, she called my husband the other night and said, you know, we've got this situation going on, and we just don't really know what's going on. We don't know what's happening in our home. And, you know, she started talking to my husband, and he was like, whoa, whoa, time out. He's an atheist, as you know. He's like, that's the one you need to be talking to. So he gave me this message. He says, you know, Jane needs you to call her because they've got a situation. And first words out of my mouth, and this was the night, I have to tell you, that Miss Gatto had transitioned. I was kind of, you know, chilling, relaxing, you know, kind of, you know. And I said, well, I said, what am I like Sideshow Bob or something, like, you know, is this a carnival? Am I a carnival act or something? Like, you know, tell everybody to call this person if you hear a noise in your house, you know. So, yeah, I just was like, I said, well, I'm not dealing with this, you know, today. I said, let me process this, you know. And then I always tell people, you know, when people come to you with these kind of situations, I think they think we're like Long Island Medium or somebody, like, oh, all of this is all over all my, no, you know, you have boundaries, you know, off and on, the switch, it's not always on, or it shouldn't be. So I said, well, let me think about this, you know, for a while, and of course I did. I sat the next day in meditation, and Spirit told me everything I needed to know before I even talked to her. So I did return her phone call, and she says, you know, we really are questioning what's happening here. You know, I need some kind of advice, some guidance, some clarification, what's going on here. And I said, okay, well, this is what I got. And, you know, I just told her whatever it was that I got from Spirit. Seems they have a 2-year-old granddaughter who's already seeing Spirit. And they're like oblivious, like, what? You know, who is she seeing? And of course, right away, people are fearful. Oh, it's bad. You know, there's a ghost in our house, and the baby is, you know, she's not real verbal, obviously. She's 2 years old, but she's letting them know that she sees something. So I said, well, I said, you know, unfortunately, in this case, a lot of parents and teachers and everybody else will shut this down, like nip it in the bud now. Like, no, we don't want to deal with this. You know, we don't want a child like this. And they kind of shut it down. So I said, you know, that's an option for the parents. You know, ignore it, discourage it, redirect, whatever the case is. Or you can embrace it and know that this child, from what I was told, is blessed.